Every time you flip a light switch, you're putting your trust in this massive, incredibly complex system to just work. But what if that system, the one that powers our entire lives, is way more vulnerable than any of us realize? Okay, let's dive right in, because we're about to get a rare peek behind the curtain, right into the digital heart of our energy grid.
I mean, it seems like a simple question, right? But the answer? Whew, it is anything but simple. For years, you've probably heard experts warning about the risks, but it's always been this kind of vague, hard to pin down problem. Well, that's all about to change.
So what is this? 30 minutes. That right there is the average time it took for cybersecurity researchers to plug into the network of a real-world power facility, a substation, a power plant, and find critical, serious security flaws. We're talking less time than it takes to watch a sitcom.
And look, this isn't just some theory or what-if scenario. This comes from years of actual real-world data. A cybersecurity firm called OMICRON, they put their tech inside more than 100 different energy facilities all over the world. What they came back with is probably one of the most detailed checkups of our grid's digital health that's ever been done.
So how in the world did they get this kind of unprecedented look inside? Well, it all comes down to understanding this very specific kind of hidden world of what's called operational technology.
Okay, so let's break this down because it's super important. Most of us, we get IT, right? Information technology. That's your office network, your emails, all that stuff. But power grids, factories, they run on something different. OT, or operational technology. And the key difference is OT systems aren't just shuffling emails around. Nope. They're controlling physical stuff. We're talking turbines, giant circuit breakers. They are literally the digital hands turning the knobs and flipping the switches on the actual power grid.
And the tool they use to see all this is called an intrusion detection system, or IDS. The best way to think about it is like a security camera, but for a computer network. The researchers just plug these in and let them watch. They passively monitored all the digital chatter flowing through these OT networks, so they could see everything that was going on without touching or disrupting a single thing. Super clever.
And what did those security cameras see? Honestly, it's pretty alarming. Let's get into the nitty-gritty, the actual technical flaws that are building this foundation of risk.
It didn't matter if they were in Europe or Asia, or if it was a power plant or a substation, they saw the same exact problems over and over and over again. You had devices running ancient software with security holes you could drive a truck through, networks that were just wide open on the inside, weird, risky connections to the internet, and get this, they even found things like printers and IP cameras just hanging out on these super-critical networks, completely undocumented.
Okay, check this out, because this one example really says it all. There's this one specific vulnerability, CVE-2015-5374, that's basically a digital skeleton key. It lets an attacker shut down a critical safety device with just one tiny little packet of data sent over the network. One packet. And the really shocking part? A patch, a fix for this, has been available for more than a decade, and yet they found systems that were still completely vulnerable to it. Just wow.
And this is where that whole weak network segmentation thing becomes a huge deal. See, in what's called a flat network, it's like a house with no interior walls. Once you're in the front door, you can go anywhere. So an attacker doesn't have to aim for the most secure system first. No, they can find the weakest link, maybe an old, forgotten computer in the corner, and compromise that. And from there, they can just stroll right across the network, completely unchallenged, until they get to the real prize, the systems that actually control the flow of power.
But here's a really crucial point. This isn't just about bad code or technical glitches. You can't just blame the computers. The technology is just one piece of a much bigger puzzle, a much more human one.
What the report uncovered were some major organizational problems. You've got the IT team over here, they know all about cybersecurity. And you've got the OT team over there, they know how to run the power plant, but they're in their own silos. And a lot of the time, no one person or team has clear ownership of securing those OT systems. It creates these huge, dangerous gaps where everyone just assumes the other team's got it covered.
And it gets worse. On top of all that, they found just basic day-to-day operational screw-ups. I'm talking devices that couldn't communicate with each other properly. Whole systems where the clocks were out of sync. They even found backup network links that were set up so badly they were actually making the main network slower. Now, by themselves, these aren't necessarily security problems, but they create a chaotic environment, and chaos is exactly what an attacker loves to take advantage of.
All right, so let's pull all this together. We've got buggy code, we've got disconnected teams, we've got messy networks. What does all of that actually mean for you and me? For the lights staying on?
And this right here is the big takeaway. The real danger isn't from any one of these things. It's the way they all pile on top of each other. It's that unpatched software sitting on a flat network, managed by an organization where no one's really in charge of security, that's also dealing with all these operational glitches. It's like a chain reaction. Each problem makes the next one worse, and together they create this compounding risk that truly threatens the reliability of our power.
So, what's the solution? Well, it has to be a top-to-bottom approach. It really starts with a simple principle. You can't protect what you don't know you have. So first, you need a perfect list of every single device on your network. Then, you need that security camera visibility to see how everything is talking to each other. And finally, you need systems that don't just look for hackers, but can also spot those operational problems that open the door for them in the first place.
And all of this leaves us with one last, pretty big question to think about. We're in this race to make everything smarter and connect everything to everything else, right? From our power plants down to our toasters. But as we build this super connected world, we really have to ask ourselves, are we actually making it stronger? Or are we just inventing more and more creative ways for it all to fall apart?